We're about to begin the service for Mr. Bernard Sher. Just as a gentle reminder, for those of you present in the chapel, if you have a cell phone with you, please place it in the silent mode or turn it off completely. That would be appreciated. We also want to welcome those of you that are viewing online. The service this afternoon will be conducted by Rabbi Barry Axler.
Our Jewish funeral service begins with the Kriyah, or tearing the black ribbon. It's a custom that dates back to two biblical moments. First, when Jacob saw what he thought was the blood of Joseph on his coat of many colors, the Bible says that he tore his clothes. And then many years later, when King David learned that his eldest son, Absalom, had been killed, in his grief he fell to the floor and also tore his clothes. So this expression of tearing has been part of our Jewish funeral service now for over 3,000 years. And the external tearing has come to symbolize the broken fabric and the broken hearts in our lives. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam dayan ha'emet. Well, blessed art thou, O Lord our God, King of the universe, who is the one judge. It's the measure of a man. And not how did he die, but how did he live? And not what did he gain, but what did he give? These are the units that measure the worth of a man as a man, regardless of his birth. Not what was his station, but had he a heart? And how did he play his God-given part? Was he ever ready with a word of good cheer to bring back a smile or banish a tear? Not what was his shrine, nor what was his creed, but had he befriended those really in need? And not what did the sketch in the newspaper say, but how many were sorry when he passed away. He is gone, and you can shed tears that he is gone, or you can smile because he has lived. You can close your eyes and pray that he will come back, or you can open your eyes and see all that he has left. Your heart can be empty because you can't see him, or you can be full of the love that you shared. You can turn your back on tomorrow and live yesterday, or you can be happy for tomorrow because of yesterday. You can remember him, and only that he is gone, or you can cherish his memory and let it live on. You can cry and close your mind and be empty and turn your back. Or you could do what he would want, smile, open your eyes, love, and go on. At times like this, words fail us. And so we turn to our Psalms. And if you can, in your pamphlets, please join me in the 23rd Psalm. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the still waters. He restores my soul. For his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runs over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. A life well lived cannot be diminished by death. The beauty, the guidance, and the inspiration it gave us will shine on as brightly as ever. Death leaves a heartache no one can heal, but life leaves a memory no one can steal. There's a beautiful line in the play Wicked that is very meaningful as we remember Bernard. It goes, "I know we are who we are because we knew you. And because we knew you, we are changed forever. Those we love remain part of us. Our loved ones leave the world, but never our hearts. Bernard Sher is now a part of who you are, of how you see the world, of how you live and give, and those priceless gifts are yours forever." In describing the passing of our first matriarch, Sarah, or the biblical figure Joseph, our Bible says that Sarah lived to be 127 years old, and Joseph lived to be 110 years old, and Jacob lived. And what the Bible doesn't say is that Sarah died, or Joseph died, or Jacob died, but Sarah lived, Joseph lived, Jacob lived, underscoring that what is most important in life is how we live and not how we die. Bernard Sher lived a wonderful life of love for his beloved Fern. He lived a life of love for his sons Brian and Jennifer and Mark. He lived a life of love for his grandchildren Penelope and Evan. He lived a life of love for his sisters Beverly and Marilyn. He lived a life of love for his sister-in-law Donna and Larry. He lived a life of love for his nieces and nephews, for his extended family, and for his many friends. Our tradition teaches us that when we pass on, we leave behind only two things. And they are two Hebrew words that not only sound alike, but they come from the same root. One is Yerusha, the other is Morasha. Now, Yerusha are your material assets. They're your bank accounts or your real estate holdings or your stocks and bonds. But Morasha is the essence of who you are the characteristics about yourself that you leave behind for family and friends who love you and who will miss you. I don't know, nor do I care to know, what Bernard Sher's Yerusha was. But after spending time with this wonderful family, I can tell you what his Morasha was. His Morasha was an unconditional love for his family. It was a reaching out and helping others, and it was an incredible zest for life. You know, in the very first words of the Bible, we're all familiar. It says, "And let there be light," and there was light. But it wasn't until day 4 that God creates the sun and the moon. So if God creates the sun and the moon on day 4, what was this light that the Bible was talking about in the very first sentences? I believe that light was the light of God. And since the world wasn't complete, God put that light into each and every one of us. And when we lead good lives, and when we care for others, that light shines forth and makes this world better. Every single person here knew that Bernard Sher had that light. And when it shone forth and hit you, it inspired you to do better and to be better. You know, on the drive up today from the city, 2 songs came over the radio that touched me very, very deeply for this service today. The first was a song by James Taylor, "How Sweet It Is to Being Loved by You." How sweet it was for all of you to be loved by Bernard Sher. And the second was a song written by Burt Bacharach and Hal David and sung by Dionne Warwick, "Always Something There to Remind Me Each one of you will always have something special to remind you of Bernard Sher. For as the song concluded, for how can I forget you when there is always something there to remind me? I was born to love you, and I will never be free because you'll always be a part of me. I want to share with you the words of Father Michael Judge. Father Judge was a Catholic priest who was the chief chaplain to the New York City Fire Department and who perished in 9/11, saving lives. And before he passed on, Father Judge wrote to his friends, hang on to your memories, hang on to your moments, and hang on to each other. Hang on to your memories of Bernard Sher. Hang on to the precious moments that you spent with him. I'm incredibly impressed with this wonderful family, Fern. And if I can take a rabbi's prerogative, I believe the most important gift you can give to Bernard's memory is to hang on to each other. As I mentioned, I was very moved by all the things that the family shared with me about their husband and father. So I'd like to share with you a very personal and a very special poem whose message I know Bernard Sher would have embraced. It's entitled, If I Knew. If I knew it would be the last time that I'd see you fall asleep, I would tuck you in more tightly, and I'd pray the Lord your soul to keep. If I knew it would be the last time that I'd see you walk out the door, I'd give you a hug and a kiss, and I'd call you back for one more. If I knew it would be the last time that I'd hear your voice lifted up in praise, I would videotape each action and word so I could play them back day after day. If I knew it would be the last time that I would be there to share your day, I would not say, you'll have so many more that I can let just this one slip away. I would not think that there's always tomorrow to make up for an oversight, and that we always get a second chance to make everything just right. So just in case today is all I get, I'd like to say how much I love you, and I hope that we never forget that tomorrow is not promised to anyone, young or old alike, and today may be the last chance that you get to hold your loved one tight. So if you're waiting for tomorrow, why not do it today? For if tomorrow never comes, you'll surely regret the day that you didn't take the extra time for a smile, a hug, or a kiss, and you were too busy to grant someone what turned out to be their one last wish. So hold your loved one close today and whisper in their ear and tell them how much you love them and that you'll always hold them dear. And take time to say, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, or it's okay. And if tomorrow never comes, you'll have no regrets about today. Bernard's passing cannot diminish the important ways that he touched your lives, and your grief cannot take away the happiness that you shared. In your memories of him, may you find comfort. In your family and friends, may you find love. And in your hearts, may you find the strength to help you through this very difficult time. So may the memory of Bernard Sher always be a blessing to us. May it inspire us to do better and to be better. And in his honor, may God grant you comfort and peace in this very difficult time. Amen. It's my honor now to call upon son Mark, who has some thoughts to share with us. Okay.
All right, hello everyone. Can you all hear me, I hope?
Maybe a little bit closer.
All right. your Kleenex ready. This is a tearjerker. All right. My dad was very special to me. We spent a lot of time together. Our thing was going out to breakfast, then an activity afterwards. Sometimes it was just grocery shopping, but other times we would go to a zoo, museum, casino, or into the city to see the sights or look at boats. He loved boats. A big thrill for us was going to the boat and RV show once a year. He also loved his road trips. When I was in grad school, we would have to meet down in Champaign once a semester. So he would come with me, and we'd make a weekend of it. His favorite place, our favorite place, was Wisconsin Dells. He could get there blindfolded. It was like coming home, and we would talk about it all year long. My dad had the best sense of humor. Out of nowhere, he would say something funny, and I would just crack up. We would say the same sentence at the same time and just start laughing. Sometimes we would give each other a look and start to laugh. I didn't write this, but one joke I was thinking about the other day, we were at Walker Brothers, and he said to the cashier, she said, "Oh, it'll be," I forgot what the total was. So he said to her, "Oh, did I introduce myself? My name's Crime, and crime doesn't pay." So I love that. He had that type of humor, and it just really, I always think about that, So I loved his humor. So I could go on forever about my dad. But the thing I really loved about my dad was how he would tell stories about his past. He loved to talk about his family, the Army, my mom, and he made sure that we knew that he went to Senn High School every time we drove by. And they had wooden lockers there too. So he was truly a great dad, and he will truly be missed. May he rest in peace. I don't know. Which one was yours? Do you remember?
Yeah, no, this one's yours.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Oh, and Mark, this one's yours too. It's now my honor to call upon son Brian, who also has some thoughts to share with us. Do you need your script? I think it's this one right here.
All right. Thanks for coming out, everybody. It's good to see a lot of people I haven't seen in a real long time, so it's really great to see everybody out here. Just wanted to share a few memories and a couple of things that I thought were really kind of fun about my dad. He loved to bowl. I mean, when he could, back in the day, he taught me how to bowl, and I've become quite a good bowler. And I took what he taught me, and I, built upon that. And I think I've come quite far, and it is a sport. But anyways, when I was about 4 or 5 years old, I'd go with him to watch him bowl at the bowling league at the bowling alley. And I remember it was just so amazing to me how good he was. And I would just go there and I would play, I'd play with my cars and airplanes and whatever. And it was fun. The big kids used to set me up with free pinball in the game room and everything, and it was fun. It was great. He would introduce me to all his friends, and he taught me how to bowl, and it was just great. He told me to stand all the way to the right, as far as you can go, and just roll the ball as hard as you can right towards the middle pin. I mean, yeah, I've come quite a ways since, just chucking the ball towards the middle, but he taught me how to do that. He was a great teacher. He used to teach me stuff. We used to play catch and ride a bike and all that stuff. So that was great, and I really appreciated him for that. We used to go. I'm just moving along. I'm just going to jump around. There's no real continuity to it, but we used to go on vacations every year to Wisconsin Dells. It was his place. He loved that place. He used to every time we'd go, and he's like, when you were about 2 years old, we were at the water show and you poured pop on your head. I'm like, I have no recollection of that. And it's like every time we went, he would just say that. And it's like we'd stay at the same places every time. Pleasant View Motel. It was up on a giant hill, and you can overlook, all of Wisconsin Dells. That place is no longer there, but it's like every time you pass that giant hill, it's like, hey, remember when we used to stay up there? It was fun. And I took these guys, Evan and Penelope with me, and my dad was so happy because that was the place he took us, and now I'm taking them. So pass along that little tradition. And Little League. I played Little League for about 3 or 4 years, something like that. He used to come to every game and cheer and everything, and that was great. Showing the support, and I do that for Penelope. I go to as many games as I can, and I'm always yelling at her to shoot the ball, right? And then our birthday parties when we were kids were always the best. We'd go to arcades, we'd go roller skating, we'd go to pizza places with goofy stuff hanging from the ceiling and stuff. We'd play Pac-Man till we're like this. Our hands were cramped because we're playing so much Pac-Man. And some of my friends that I still keep in touch with through Facebook, they still remember those, and they always seem to bring it up when I talk to them. It's like, do you have any go-karting parties lately? Like if I do, I'll let you know, because that would be pretty awesome. And then this is one that's interesting because he loved action movies. Okay, I remember he took us to see Rocky and I remember like Saturday Night Fever and Smokey and the Bandit. I remember those. But there was one movie in particular. It was around 1977. It was a Star something. I didn't want to see it. Okay, I wanted to see some goofy old movie, for kids and whatever. And he's like, no, you'll like it. It'll be awesome. I'm like, Star, I don't know. And then he dragged me to it, and you know what movie that was? Star Wars, right? Greatest movie ever. And it was because he dragged me to that movie. I ended up seeing it about 7 times, I think, perhaps in the theater. So I think it was pretty good. So there was one other thing I wanted to bring up. It's kind of an interesting story. I was probably in my early 20s, about 21, 22 years old or something. I was young, and at that time, we would go out and stay out pretty late, but we weren't out at bars or anything. We were at Al's house playing poker or Street Fighter or something like that on Nintendo, and I was out all night. We didn't have cell phones, it was the early 90s, so my dad would call Al's house about midnight, 1 in the morning, and say, hey, where are you? Al's mom would scream downstairs, Brian, Dad's on the phone again. And then I was there like till 5 in the morning, and I'm driving home. And as I'm driving home, I see my dad driving the opposite direction, probably going to Al's house to look for me. So I get home, and as I'm getting out of my car, my dad comes back with a dozen donuts. I'm like, you were out looking for me, right? He's like, no, I went out to buy donuts. So Evan, if you're out till 6 in the morning and I'm there with donuts, you know why. Okay? All right? But I want to say thanks to everybody again for coming out. Dad, is a real special guy. Oh, there was one more story I wanted to share. Okay. This one, I'm actually really proud of this story. He worked at Lens Crafters for many years, and there was one Saturday afternoon I went to go visit him. We were going to go get some lunch up at the food court, and I was wondering why it was just exceptionally busy in this Lens Crafters, okay? Saturday afternoon at the mall, you know, it's probably busy. But this one particular Saturday afternoon, it was just wall to wall. And I went to go see my dad, and he's like, well, I can't go right now. It's really busy. And as I was, you know, just kind of saying, okay, well, I'll just meet you over there when you're ready, I was just listening to this older people, or it was just a bunch of people here. And they're like, oh, we're waiting for the older gentleman over there to help us. Any of these other guys could have helped him, but they were all waiting for my dad. And I was just kind of blown away by this. And he was just such a good person to everybody. Everybody just wanted his help there. And it was just amazing to me. And I think that's part of how I got my, I guess my personality is from that guy. So, but yeah, but you know, thanks for coming out. I wanted to say thanks again, and you know, to share some of those memories. Thanks. Thanks.
Well, Brian, you bowled me over. And may the force always be with you, Dad. Well, it's now my honor to call upon the matriarch of the family, and that's Bernard's wife, Fern, of many years. Fern.
Step up here, okay. Yeah. Good. First of all, I would like to thank everybody for coming. We really appreciate everybody here for spending their time with us. Bernie and I were married for 59 years. He was a wonderful husband and father with a great sense of humor. Family was everything to him, and he always wanted to perpetuate family traditions. He loved celebrating the holidays and vacationing with his family. He enjoyed bowling and playing tennis, watching action movies, especially James Bond movies, and sports on television, mostly football and baseball. And as a certified ABO optician, he owned his own optical company for many years. He was very proud of being a military veteran and became a great chef in the Army. He was a sharpshooter and could cook dinner for 100. He certainly had a happy and fulfilling life. Above all, he loved his family. Thank you, Brian and Mark, for being wonderful sons and helping us get through this difficult time. Mark, you were the best caregiver there ever could be, helping him day and night. Thank you, Jen, for being our cherished daughter-in-law with a heart of gold. Thank you to our grandchildren, Evan and Penelope, for being so caring. Thank you, Donna, my loving sister, for all your help and support. And last but not least, thank you, Buffy and Max, our little Cocker Spaniels, for making Bernie's life complete. May he now rest in peace.
Wow. Mark, Brian, Fern, as I listened to your moving and sometimes humorous stories, I was thinking, I don't know how many of you have seen the play Hamilton, But if you have, you know that one of the themes of Hamilton is how to pass on your legacy. And there's a verse that goes through the entire play, from beginning to end. Who lives, who dies, who will tell your story? Who will keep your flame, and who will remember your name? You will always tell a story. You will keep his flame alive, and we will always remember his name. I ask the family now to please rise. El Mole Rachamim, Shochein Bamromim, Hamitzei Menucha Nechona Tachat Kanfei HaShechina, B'ma'alot Kedoshim U'Tohorim Kuzoar Horakia Masirim, Et Nishmat Bernard Sher, Sholach Li Olamo. El Mole Rachamim, O exalted, compassionate God, grant infinite rest in your sheltering presence among the holy and the pure to the soul of Bernard Sher, who has gone unto his eternal home. O merciful one, we ask that he find perfect peace in your eternal embrace. May his soul be bound up in the bond of life. May he rest in peace. And as one united family, let us answer. Amen. And you may be seated for a moment.
The interment will take place at Memorial Park Cemetery right here in Skokie. If you're joining our procession, we will make sure that your car has an orange funeral sticker to be placed in the inside portion of your windshield, as well as a magnetic flag for the top of your vehicle. And please keep your bright headlights on at all times, as well as your emergency flashers. The Shiva will be observed at the Marks residence at 802 Woodley Avenue in Highland Park, following the interment today until 8 p.m., and then Friday from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. This information is listed in the service folder you received on your way in, and for those of you that are joining us online, this information is on the website as well. Now, at this time, I'll ask everyone to please rise as we escort Mr. Sher's casket from the chapel.